Alright everybody, what is going on? I needed a video for today, so, and Global's actually in maintenance at the moment. I didn't get to it before it hopped in, and, this was a pretty good video. So, if you guys don't know, I'm, in the last push here of my, personal busy season, so, here in about a week, I'll be able to get back to normal, you know, two videos a day content, and, we'll be moving back on track a little bit here as we move towards Golden Week. I'm really excited. Now, funny thing happened, but, you know, I have Hirudegarn and Super Saiyan 3 Goku rainbowed now, so, it was actually very, very, very easy. It was one of those situations where I was like, nah, I'm just gonna do, like, one more, like, rotation, and you get, like, a copy, and you're like, well, okay, well, now I'm only one away, and so, I probably rainbowed both, I think, in, like, 2,000 or less, I think is the final count here. So, anyway, but I've been using these guys off camera a lot because I like to, kind of have a basis for what I'm talking about, especially before I start hopping into videos with these guys. You know, it's nice for you guys to get my initial reaction for, like, how I'm viewing things as they're happening. But I also think it's good whenever I kind of already have a little bit of background knowledge going into a fight and knowing how the character is going to perform in there, and then I can just kind of display it to you guys like, all right, you know, here's what I've been seeing. Let's see if it replicates, and it usually does. So that's like a little secret of mine, is I do like to actually use the unit first. Very rarely are you guys actually seeing my initial reaction to a unit in a specific fight. So a little peek behind the curtain there. But anyway, what we're actually going to be talking about is Hirudegarn specifically right now. And I don't know if this is just like a villain problem in general or what this video is going to turn into. But I've been using Hirudegarn a lot. And first of all, I want to like Hirudegarn. I do think he is one of the stronger villains that we've gotten. In terms of like pure villains, if we were just go look at extreme class units, I mean, Hirudegarn's got to be like the best pure villain other than maybe Fusion Zamasu, and even him, he gives him a run for his money. I think this guy blows like Rose Goku Black out of the water, the physical Rose Goku Black. I don't want to say I hate that unit, but that unit is not tight for when they're going to release. That's going to be like pretty close to the worldwide celebration, probably, is whenever Goku, like Rose Goku Black is going to release. We know every year that the worldwide celebration likes to tick the difficulty up just a little bit during the year. So the fact that he's like already kind of struggling in content on global, you know, leaves me very, very weary for like the Supreme Battle Spectacle and then what is to come after that, because this game does keep moving. It doesn't stop for anyone. Luckily, something Hirudegarn has that a lot of villains don't is the ability to have longevity. We all know that the best aging mechanic in this game is dodge. It allows units to live far past their prime. It's just always been one of those things. The only time dodge has not really been super helpful was during maybe like the legendary, like the legendary event metas, like UI Goku, GT Goku, the Super Saiyan 4 full power, and then like Evolution Blue Vegeta, because their final phases canceled dodge. Thing is, though, is that even like AGL UI Goku was pretty decent for the GT Legendary Goku event, which was arguably one of the, like the hardest, you know, stages at the time. And it was still, I don't want to say it was free and easy. Like Vegeta was obviously better in that event just because he was int, so he had type advantage against the final phase. His defense was good enough throughout the entire event. And then whenever you got to the end, obviously he did have the advantage over Goku. But I think many people will tell you who played during that 6th anniversary meta that AGL UI Goku was fine in there. Like, that final phase was tech and it canceled dodging, but as long as you didn't get caught by a super attack, like, AGL UI Goku was probably going to be fine in there. Plus, you had his revive, everything like that, so it was never really, like, a huge concern. And it's like, AGL UI Goku, people were using him, like, in the new fights, like, last worldwide celebration, you know, way past this guy's prime. And now he has his EZA, and it's seemingly like, okay, when is this guy going to age out? Because he's secretly one of the best aging units in the game, you know. Again, he's dodge or die, but if you dodge, you don't take damage, and whenever you're surrounded by other units that are on, like, some of these weaker categories that he's on, and they're taking, you know, 300k per normal, and he just can simply dodge it. I know, it's, like, easier said than done, but again, you guys get what I'm saying, that it's like, if you're just running him maybe as a floater, or you're able to kind of put him in slots where there's less pressure, you know, asking a unit with a 70% chance to dodge one attack is not, like, the biggest ask in the world, or even 2 or 3 attacks. Like, that's not super difficult for them. So a character like Hirudegarn that's kind of built on that same premise, I do like. here's what I don't like about Hirudegarn. Actually, first, let's keep going with things that I like. First off, Hirudegarn is a very, very powerful villain, and he's a villain that should have longevity in this game. Again, because he's based around dodging. Dodging doesn't really age. I can't remember the last time that we had like a really powerful dodging unit. It was probably Janemba, and he only had a medium chance to dodge, and we know how long he lasted. So getting a unit like Hirudegarn with a 70% chance to dodge, plus all the other stuff that he has in his kit, is very good. So another thing that I do like, speaking of Janemba, is Hirudegarn's link set. If we look at this, the only two, like, bogus links that this guy really has are Berserker and Revival, you know, but Brutal Beatdown, Big Bad Bosses, Fear and Faith, Nightmare, Fierce Battle, I think I've said this in several videos, but if you're sharing 5 links with Janemba, you have a good villain link set. That's kind of like, to me, Janemba is like the gold standard for what villains link sets should be. Like, if every villain just had this exact link set, there would be, I don't want to say like no issues with villains, but villain teams would just be a lot more smooth. We all know that like villains, one of the main issues with them is that they all have their like specific links, you know, and then there's also a few characters like maybe Tien and Chaozu or Yamcha's is just kind of like a human link set, but specifically like Cell, Booze, Tien and Yamcha, maybe like Master Roshi to an extent. Who else? Maybe like GT units, honestly. GT units link really well with other GT units, just like, you know, Cells link with Cells, Booze link with Booze, etc. So, like, you could even say it to, like, GT units to some extent. Have these, like, very specific link sets that don't really allow for a lot of flexibility. But whenever you get a unit like Janemba, who just has, like this is, like, what, is there a better link set than this? Like, you have Shocking Speed, that's just, like, a good key link. Like, you have this, and that's fine. That's going to link you with superclass units, villains, you know, humans, everything. Like, a lot of characters have Shocking Speed. Big Bad Bosses, of course, is, like, maybe the best link in the game in terms of, like, the potent, just raw ability that it gives you. Metamorphosis, many villains have Metamorphosis. This is another very common link that you'll see, like, Boos have this, and, like, Coolers and Friezas and stuff have this, so this is a pretty good one. Brutal Beatdown, probably most villains have this one. Same with, like, Nightmare and then Fear and Faith. These are kind of, like, again, more just links. Fear and Faith isn't, like, the best effect in the world, but it is still 2 key. And key with villains can sometimes be a struggle. So, again, like, having this pairing is really good. And just overall, like, this might as well be, like, I don't know, Saiyan lineage and... Well, actually, I mean, this is still just Shocking Speed. This could just be, like... This is, like, the Saiyan lineage of villain links. Is basically what Fear and Faith is, to me. Not in terms of the effect, but in terms of, like, the prevalency of the link and how common you'll find it, like, in units. Like, Saiyan Lineage isn't, like, the most common, like, Prepared for Battle. Like, that's probably, like, Shocking Speed or maybe Big Bad Bosses. But, you know, Saiyan Lineage is on enough units to where it doesn't matter. So that's maybe what I would put Fear and Faith at. But anyway, like, I consider Janemba here, like, the gold standard for villain links. So whenever you have a unit like Hirudegarn that's sharing, again, 5 links with him, that is, again, very valuable because, like, this is just solid. Like, most villains are going to have Brutal Beatdown, Big Bad Bosses, Fear and Faith, Fierce Battle. If we just kind of look at his best linking partners, you'll see Janemba's, he's sharing, you know, 4 links with the Boos, he's sharing 4 links with Cell, he's sharing 4 links with Garlic Jr., Goku Black, Janemba, AGL Zamasu, you know, 13. You guys kind of see the common theme here. It's like we're sharing a minimum of 4 links with many characters whenever there are some Cell units that don't even share like 2 links with other Cell units, you know? So that's, again, very powerful. So things I like about Hirudegarn. His link set, very good. He's a very powerful villain. He has dodging, which is going to age very well. Awesome, right? And he stacks. This is, I don't want to say this is good, but it is. This is better than if he didn't have it, if that makes sense. Now let's talk about what I don't like and kind of the premise of this video now that we're 10 minutes in. The entire premise of this video is that where do you use Hirudegarn? Like, we finally get a villain that is like, awesome, dude. Yes, I want to use this villain. Where? I know the 9th anniversary isn't out yet, and he does work on, what, Broly's team? I think Broly leads, like, movie bosses, right? I think. Let me double check that. I guess I could just do it like while you guys are here. This is the Dokkan info site. If you are not familiar with this site, you should be. It's in the link in the description below. Oops, I picked Japanese. Let's pick English. There we go. But yeah, in the description, you'll find a link to the Dokkan info site. Let's go ahead and go to cards, and then here's Broly. Super Boss's transformation boost are full power. Hirudegarn's on transformation boost, right? Like, surely he's on transformation boost. Like probably, right? Yes. Yeah, so he is on Broly's team, which is good, obviously. And then Broly's on his team, so that is a buff. But yeah, his issue is teams. I mean, you look at this and go, oh, movie bosses, transformation boost. You'd think that, you know, time travelers, we just got like the worldwide celebration, like this should be a good team. I mean, that's kind of where it ends, but you know, like these three teams, you figured, all right, you know, Hirudegarn, you can build a team out of that, right? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Movie bosses or resurrected warriors? Let's go ahead and just take a look at the state of movie bosses right now on global. Cooler's dead, Janimba's dead, Broly and Chilai and Limo are awaiting their EZA. This unit was dead on arrival. This unit's dead, although he is probably coming up on an EZA, maybe sooner rather than later. They still haven't EZA'd the Tech Broly, and he's currently the oldest, the Tech LR Broly, this guy right here. This guy has not EZA'd yet, so he is very, like, clearly due for an EZA, and this guy's up there as well, so... you know, be on the lookout for a big Broly celebration sometime soon. That's what we can infer from that, right? But yeah, so anyway, this guy was dead on arrival, his EZA specifically, I mean, and then this guy, I mean, he was, like, okay whenever he EZA'd. He was kind of like, you know, like, he was okay-ish, you know, like, solid-ish whenever he drops, so... like, that's fine. And then, you know, you get to these guys. So this, I guess we switched over to JP without me realizing it, but yeah. AGL Broly's right here. Again, he is very powerful. He is a huge buff to movie bosses. But like, Dr. Wheelo... Metal Cooler aged very quickly. He was good for his meta, but he aged. His aging was dramatically fast. Again, same thing with this guy. AGL Gold and Frieza is okay for the content that we have right now on Global, but he doesn't have, like, big bad bosses, and this is kind of what I'm talking about with these villains, is that, like, his link set is just, like, Frieza. Like, this is only good if you're linking him next to another Resurrection F Frieza. You know, it's not enough that he just has his two, like, you know, Universe's most malevolent, or strong, like, Universe's most malevolent and strongest clan in space. Like, on a normal villain, these would be, like, or like on a normal Frieza, or a normal Wicked Bloodline category character, these would be, like, the two, like, you know, bum links. Like, Hirudegarn has Revival and Berserker. This is, like, the equivalent. But because he's a Resurrection F Frieza, we also have to have the Resurrection F link and Super God Combat. So already we have, like, 4 hyper-specific links and 2, like, ultra-hyper-specific links that you're just never going to see active. Like, at least these you can get with Frieza units, but then these just give attack and key. So, like, these aren't even that good. And then you slap Prodigy on them because Friezas just have to have that for some reason. And then you're just left with Legendary Power and Fierce Battle, which he has to have because he's like a summonable, you know, LR. So you're locking 6 of his 7 links away to these, like, links that he, quote, has to have. And then you're just left with Prodigies. Like, if this was big bad bosses instead of Prodigies, instantly Golden Frieza would be, like, insane. Like, he's already good, but that would just, like, vault him over the top. Meanwhile, we're stuck with this. Like, I don't mind him having these two right here in the middle. It's Super God Combat and Resurrection F that really get me nettled. So, anyway, off topic a little bit, kinda, but again, I don't know what this video is or what it's meant to be, other than I've been trying to run Hirudegarn, and I don't know where. I try to make setups for him, and I'm just like, the best place I can run him right now is like Fusion Zamasu's leader skill on the 120%, or 150%, I mean, for villains. Like, that's like his best setup at the moment, is double 150 on Tech Fusion Zamasu's team. That's pitiful. That is so sad for such a strong character. They finally get a villain right. They finally give us this, like, absolute animal, and he's just kind of left out here to die. Now, who knows where we're going to be at the end of the year, but just in terms of, like, I can't even run him right now. You know, like that's not good. Turles was a huge fumble. For some reason, this guy, they decided didn't need defense on his super tech effect. Explain that one to me, I'll never understand. Oh, hey guys, guess what? We finally got some like super class fights, some Goku fights, you know. Good luck using Turles. I'm sure somebody out there will be like, I have no problem using Turles. He's great, you know, like Tony the Tiger is going to show up at my house and stick a thumb on me. You know, he's going to puppeteer me and I'm going to be like, hello, kids. Hi, Turles is actually really good, you know. Anyway. Tech Janimba's upcoming on an Easy A, potentially. This is coming up sooner rather than later. This would be a huge buff to so many villain teams. Physical Beerus is, like, decent for the current meta on Global, but he did not survive the power creep on JP. And honestly, I mean, I don't like running him now. He can take some heavy damage from Fusion Zamasu, physical Fusion Zamasu. This guy, I mean, I've seen him take like, what, like 300 something K from a normal before he gets his defense buff. And I mean, like, that's not good. This guy was, again, okay for his meta, but he aged out, like, immediately. Android 13's really only decent on the Android team, and I really don't even like him there. He's just, like, his defense doesn't get up high enough. This Frieza's good. So, just like in terms of good movie bosses that will be coming to the game, we got 1, we have this guy, so that's 2, 3, 4, kind of 5, and that's like it. That's it. You guys point me out something that I'm missing. But until we get, like, Int Janimba's Super Easy A, I mean, that's, like, it, right? Is there anything that I'm missing? Bio Broly? Bio Broly's SSR? You know, maybe. Can I say that Bio Broly's SSR is more detrimental to the team than, like, I don't know. Well, yeah, probably. I can probably say that Bio Broly's SSR is worse than, like, probably most of these characters. But you guys get what I'm saying. Now, we start getting these guys. That would be good, right? That's a big movie boss's buff. You know, you're like, oh, Jordan, obviously the Brolys. The Brolys are coming, man. Yes, the Brolys are coming. Yes, they are. They have come. With their great Saiyan Link set. Like, come on, dude. But anyway, that's just like a global problem. Once we get Broly's team's good. Hirudegarn fits on there nicely. I'm just upset that this guy's out right now on global, and it's still going to be another, like, you know, 3 months before I can even, like, actually, it's going to be a little over 3 months. No, it's about 3 months. It's going to be like 3 months before I can even, like, use this guy to, like, a fraction of his potential. I hate that. I hate that so much. Anyway, and then I wanted to talk about another thing with Hirudegarn. This is just like, I'm turning this like into like my venting session for Hirudegarn here. Hirudegarn is pretty good in base. Let me do some quick calcs real quick. We'll talk about them. Okay, I switched over here to my old Hirudegarn calcs. I believe these are all correct. Defense 13,500. You multiply by 5 for the leader skill. 25% for big bad bosses. That is his only defensive link. I mean, technically revival, but I'm not counting revival. So anyway, that's like his only link. Right here, he gets 300% at the start of turn if you have him with his intro up, which is just automatic. His intro is just as soon as he enters. So for the first 5 turns, you do have 300% the stats at the start of turn. You have a great chance to dodge. And then every time you dodge, you get a 10% defense buff up to 50%, which is multiplicative with this 300% and the stacking. And then you obviously have the stacking. He can triple super, all that good stuff, right? So anyway, this is kind of what we're showing right here. 300% at the start of turn. This is where he's going to be at right here. And then this side over here is with 40% support. So, you know, starting out at 337k at the start of turn, you know, you get 50% whenever you fully build up. So then you'd be at 506k. And then every single time you super attack, you're going to be getting about 150k defense after you're fully built up. So for those first 5 turns, you can really get up to some crazy defensive numbers. So just like, for example, this is after 1 stack. So let's just, let me delete this line real quick right here. And let's just say that Hirudegarn gets, like, I don't know, 8 stacks, right? Like, is that probable, you know, within 5 turns? Probably, right? Because you could triple super twice and then, like, double super once. Like, I feel like 8 maybe is like a little bit high end, but that would be a total boost of 240% from your super attack effect, right? Because he gets 30% every single time that he super attacks. So you would just take this number right here, this 506 250. We would take this and multiply by 3.4. So, I mean, he can get up to about 1.7 million defense with 8 super attacks. And again, that's a bit of the high end. So let's just say 6 super attacks. That would be 180%. 180% right here. So then we would multiply, instead of by 3.4, we would multiply by 2.8. And so again, 1.5 million defense is pretty respectable in terms of like tanking most normals. This coupled with a 70% chance to dodge is pretty good. Now, let's just say you decide to keep him in base and we get up to 10 stacks right here. Okay, so we go from 6, we go to 10, and that is a total of a 300% buff from the super attack effect. So we take this, multiply by 4, but it's after our intro has worn off, so we have to take this down from 300% to 200% at the start of turn because our intro is no longer up. You could see a Rainbow Hirudegarn would be at about 1.5 million defense if you kept him in base and kept him stacking. So again, this is after your intro is worn off, so you're back down to the 200% at the start of turn, and then he has 10 stacks, so you're at 1.5 million defense right here. And, you know, that sounds pretty good, right? Like a Rainbow Hirudegarn, 1.5 million defense. You know, that's great and all. Now, here's where I don't like what Hirudegarn is doing. Whenever you transform Hirudegarn, he does this funny thing where he loses this multiplicative buff. So, like, if we transform right here, right? So now we're at 250% at the start of turn, just straight up. If we put him in slot 1 right here... Excuse me. I had a burp there. But if you put him in slot 1, he gets an extra 100% at the start of turn for a total of 350%. So just to remind you, in this form, we were at 300% start of turn with 50% build-up multiplicative buffs. Okay? So 300 start of turn, 50% multiplicative, which makes this 300% way more potent. All right? Then we transform. Please? Thank you. And now we're just at 350% at the start of turn, with no other multiplicative buffs other than the stacks that we carry over from our base form. That's it. So now you're like, Jordan, he's still at 350%, you know, because we're at 250 here, 100 here. That's 350. You know, on the other rotation, we were getting 350, but we weren't. We weren't, because we were getting a multiplicative 50. So the devs are giving us this extra 100% defense in slot 1, but this is just additive with the 250, as opposed to a 300 and a 50 multiplicative. We trade that off. What we trade that for is 100% that's only locked to slot 1. So they're telling you, no more flexibility, buddy. This guy's going in slot 1, and he's dodging, all right? Now, you do get this 150% on when attacking. Got to have that damage. No longer are we getting defense from our super attack effect, because that had to go away for some reason. You know, they already stripped us of our multiplicative buff. They're forcing us to put them in slot 1 to get this extra 100%. And now they've stripped us of our stacking. They've stripped us of the multiplicative buff. Like I said, the trade-off for that is that you get this gamble. You get this gamble, okay? So if you transform with this guy, I believe the earliest you can transform is turn 3. Is that correct? Yes. So either turn 3 or turn 6, you're going to be able to transform with this guy. All right? That's not the worst transformation ever. And then you start gambling. All right. Oh, by the way, he also does get this. He gets this extra 10% chance to dodge within the turn after evading an enemy attack. And so you're like, oh, Jordan, you dummy. Jordan, no, you're an idiot. After 3 dodges, he has a 100% chance to dodge. Like, no, because this is in a separate phase. Dokkan does this really funny thing where they treat, like, buffs in your passive, like this, the same as they do, like, multiplicative stats. So this is in, like, the phase 2 of the passive, I believe is, like, the correct terminology. So this is a phase 1 dodge right up here, right? This is phase 1 of the passive. This is in phase 2 of the passive, and those buffs for stats are multiplicative. All that means for for buffs like this is that they're just completely separate. You're just building up a completely separate chance to dodge that has no, like, help to you at all. Like, you know, maybe after you get 5 off, you'll start feeling it, you know, but, like, And it resets every turn. Okay, so that's just like a complete lack of understanding of their own game, that this isn't actually doing anything for you. In reality, this translates to probably about 3%. The way you would calculate it is you would take, let me do, you guys can't see my calculator. Let me do this. Ignore the black box on the side of your screen right there. But essentially what you would do in order to calculate your chance to dodge from this 10%, so like let's just say, we'll keep it simple. So, we have a 70% chance to dodge baseline, right? So this is just, you know, out of 100 paths, on 70 of them, we will dodge the attack. So that means that this doesn't even have a chance to kick in 70% of the time. So that means this can only activate, well, let's assume we've already done one dodge. Okay, so we have our we've done one dodge, and so now we're on our second attack. So then we have a proc of this up, this 70% up, and then we also have a proc of this 10% up. This 10% chance will only kick in again if this 70% fails. If they're both up. So like again, the scenario here is we've already dodged one attack, so we've built up one 10% chance. So we currently have a 70% chance running concurrently with a 10% chance. So if our 70% chance fails, then our 10% chance will have a chance to kick in. So what that means is our failure rate is 1 minus our success rate, right? Oh, I'm an idiot. Hang on, sorry. So we only have, actually, a 30% chance for the 10% chance to kick in once it's activated. So the way you kind of like calculate the chance of like the probability happening is you would take the 30% and you would multiply it by the 10%. I'm just using 0.1 right here for simplicity. And so essentially, that 10% chance is actually an effective 3% chance. So yay! You know, we got an extra 3%. Oh, wrong screen. So anyway, that's just like why this isn't super relevant. You know, as it starts to build up more, it becomes more relevant. But, so, the true thing that you're gambling for is this. After you transform with Hirudegarn on turn 3, if you dodge 3 attacks, then when Hirudegarn returns, he has a 100% chance to dodge, which is better than any amount of defense in the game in the current meta. So that's what you're truly trading it off for. My issue with this is that most of the time, I feel like I'm not transforming on turn 3. And even if I am, like, why would I? You know, like, I understand it's like, oh, if you get the dodges, he's untouchable on the next turn. I don't know about you guys, I'm not worried about the next turn if I don't survive the current turn. And Hirudegarn's defense does drop off, you know, somewhat significantly. So if we go back over to these stats, here's Hirudegarn again, and I named him Full Bloom because he's like, it's his metamorphosis, right? Like, he's come out of the cocoon. You can see, like, this is it. Like, this is his defense now. So 350% slot 1. This is all you will see, like right here. Actually, you won't even see this. Because you can't actually see the 100% at the start of turn, you'll actually only see 295. But then once the turn locks in, you get the extra 100% if he's in slot 1, and it kicks up to 379. So this is your defense right here with 0 stacks with Hirudegarn, slot 1, like as soon as you transform. Now, let's say you get 3 stacks. 3 stacks should be pretty easy, assuming you have good luck. So then he would be at 371k again after the turn kicks in, and you get the extra 100%. So that's kind of like what this is. Now, let's say, again, that he has like 10 stacks. Let's say we did like the 10 stack. We did the 10 stack roll, right? So right here, instead of times 1.9, we would do multiplied by 4 because 10 stacks will be 300%. So that's what we would multiply by right here. Sorry, I had to pause real quick. So anyway, like, you know, 1.5 million defense right there. We can kind of ignore this line right here. So again, 10 stacks, 1.5 million defense. You know, I mean, that's pretty much about what we're at up here, right? Right? I can't remember. So let's go ahead and recalc it, you know, just cuz. So anyway, 10 stacks, we're not going to have the full intro buff anymore. We're only going to be at 200% if we're at 10 stacks. Well, I guess in theory we could have it if we triple super. No, even if we did triple 3 turns in a row, we would only be at 9 stacks. But so 10 stacks, our intro has fully worn off at that point. We've got our full 50% from dodging. And so let's move this down to 3. And then 30% on super tech effect. Let's make this again 10 stacks right here, which is a total boost of 300%. So we're going to multiply this by 4 right there. And so you can see, I guess it's actually just the exact same number. Am I forgetting something here? 1.25, 4.5, 10 stacks. Okay. 1.25. Oh, that's right. Okay, so I guess it is. Hang on. Let my brain. Okay, well, this makes sense. Okay, it makes sense. It ends up working the same way, right? So we're taking, the links right here, multiplying by 3 for the 200% at the start of turn once the intro's gone, then by 1.5, and then by 4. Here, we're just kind of cutting out the middleman. Instead of going from 1.5 so instead of going from 3 and then 1.5, we're just going straight to 4.5. So this is the same. So your defense is the same. Your chance to dodge is the same. Your damage does go way up. Your damage does go up in this form right here, but no more stacking. Now, stacking is only going to get you so far. If you have 10 stacks, I'd say you're probably actually doing better than most Hirudegarn players. But, like, if you ever wanted to try to get to, like, 15 stacks, this is where Hirudegarn's really going to start to pull away, is whenever that happens. So, I don't even want to calculate it. But just know that, like, once you transform, like, that's it. And most of the time, you're not going to have 10 stacks. You don't really want to transform sooner than you have to, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at here. Because as long as your intro is up, like if you're still at 300% at the start of turn, obviously you won't have as many stacks. Excuse me. Best case scenario, you could only have 9 stacks. So let's just say, best case, let's say 6 stacks, right? 6. Oh, no, not multiplied by 6. 6 stacks would be 30%. That'd be times 2.8. So, yeah, I guess it would actually be lower, but just barely. Like, 6 stacks is lower. 7, where does that put us? 7 will put us at 3.1. Oops, what did I type wrong? There we go. So, yeah, I guess 7 stacks with your intro up, you are doing better than Transform Hirudegarn. So, maybe this wasn't as big of a deal as I thought it was. I needed to actually, I guess, sit down and rant about it and kind of be put in my place by myself. I was thinking that, like, once this 50% went away, like, his defense was going to drop a ton, but I guess it actually really doesn't. It does kind of work itself out because of just the way the intro buff works. But you still are locked to putting him in slot 1, and you do lose the stacking. But I guess the stacking isn't even, like, that important, because either way, you're probably going to end up with about 6, 6 is probably what you're going to end at. And, a 6-stack Hirudegarn right here, I would say 6 is fairly common, from my experience using him. So that's going to put you at, what did I say, a 2.8? So you're at 1,000,000 defense, like, yay? Like 1,000,000 with 6 stacks? That's all right. Like 1,000,000 with the 70% chance to dodge and everything else he's doing. I guess that's good. This is good, actually, for me, because I wasn't, whenever I've been using Hirudegarn, again, I'm backpedaling. Whenever I've been using Hirudegarn, in my mind, like, I haven't had time to, like, sit down and calc this stuff. I just see the raw number at the start of turn, and I see, like, what would it be? It'd be, like, instead of 4.5, it would be 3.5. Oops. Dang it, I can't type, guys, I'm sorry. I see 3.5, so I see this, like, 826k at the start of turn, and I'm just like, oh, God, I much preferred, before we transform, whatever, he was at, like, 1.2 million or whatever, So, suffice to say, this isn't as big of a deal as I thought it was. I thought going into this, I was going to, be a lot more upset with his stacking, just the way it works out. Like, I did not think, like, I thought that the loss of this 50% buff right here was going to be more detrimental than it is. But once your intro goes away, it just becomes the same. So, the only thing you really lose whenever you transform, I guess, is the stacking. but how much is the stacking actually going to help you? So I guess the trade-off of the stacking for this is really what's happening. I still don't understand why he just can't get defense for 1 turn once he transforms. I don't think that would make him too good. But it still just puts Hirudegarn mostly in this, like, dodge or die situation. And if you guys saw my 79% Bugs Life video, you guys know that I put, you know, full dodge on this guy. And I'll tell you, he has been getting caught here recently. Dude, I don't know what it is, but Hirudegarn is just, like, cursed. I can't explain to you. I'm excited. Hopefully this next weekend, I'll be able to sit down and get a couple videos out. If not this weekend, maybe like Tuesday next week. Like a week from probably when this video is coming out, I'll be able to sit down and actually get a bunch of showcases out for this guy. So I'm excited for that leading into Golden Week again. We're going to have the type banners too here pretty soon. But anyway, Hirudegarn, villains. Let me know what you guys think. You know, maybe I'm being too tough on Hirudegarn. Maybe I am just upset because I've been using him off screen and he's been dying for me. Maybe that is entirely possible. But, yeah, I don't like that he doesn't have a team. That is part of it, is that Hirudegarn's shoulders are heavy. Because the units that he's carrying are tough. I didn't even pull up Resurrected Warriors. I did not feel the need to even bring this category into discussion because look at this. Look at this. Tell me when you see a premium unit. I mean, this guy's coming up on his EZA. Technically, so is this guy. But, and this guy, I guess. But still, you look at this and you tell me where the premier options are right now. Because I'm not seeing them. So, anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for listening to my vent. I'm glad that I kind of, you know, was actually wrong about the calcs. I thought that his defense fell off tremendously after he, you know, transformed. Like, I thought that loss of 50% was actually going to be, like, bad for him. But I guess, like, once... It is bad if his intro is up. But once his intro is gone, then you should just transform him, because in slot 1, he's going to have the same defense, and stacking is probably not going to help you as much as the chance to gamble for that 100% chance to dodge on their next turn. So, anyway, that's my thought on Hirudegarn. You guys can let me know what you think about him. Let me know if anybody summoned for him. Let me know what teams you're using him on, because I've even tried running him on, like, a Time Traveler setup, and, like, I hate running double of this guy. Like, I hate it. I don't ever want to run 2 of this guy. For any reason do I ever want to run 2 of this guy. So it really is, to me, his best setup is just double Fusion Zamasu. But you guys let me know what you think. Thank you all again so much for watching. Thank you for letting me vent to you. I've got a lot of, like, frustrations that I'd like to get out right now. So I hope you're all having a great Tuesday. I hope you're all having a wonderful, fantastic week. You guys are all awesome. I appreciate all of you so much. Thank you all again for supporting me, watching me, liking the videos, commenting. I love seeing and reading your comments, so keep them coming. I'll catch you guys next time.